He had everything: wealth, power, prestige. He was Rome's richest philosopher, a man who dined with emperors and advised the most dangerous ruler in history. And yet, every single day, he practiced dying. Not metaphorically, literally. He pictured his fortune vanishing, his friends betraying him, his breath leaving his body. Why would a man who owned silver mines and palaces imagine losing it all? Because Seneca believed, if you master loss, you become untouchable. And if you learn how to die, you finally understand how to live. This is the story of the Stoic who had everything, and prepared every day as if it could be taken, not to suffer, but to be free. Act 1. The Paradox of Power. Lucius Annaeus Seneca was not a beggar in a cave. He didn't renounce the world like Diogenes. He didn't walk barefoot like Socrates. He was wealthy, immensely so. He managed imperial affairs, dined with nobles, and was once second only to the emperor himself. But Seneca knew something most of the elite didn't. Power doesn't protect you. In fact, it paints a target on your back. He served under Nero, one of history's most unstable rulers, and every night, Seneca went to sleep knowing that tomorrow he could be ordered to take his own life. So he practiced a strange ritual. He called it preparatio mortis, the preparation for death. Each day, he would imagine losing everything: his fortune, his health, his loved ones, his life, not to torture himself, but to set himself free. Act 2. The Art of Losing Everything. Seneca wrote, "He who has learned to die has unlearned how to be a slave." He meant that the fear of death or of loss makes you a prisoner. Because if you're terrified of losing what you have, you don't own your life. Your life owns you. And so, Seneca practiced letting go in his mind. He would walk through his villa and imagine it in ashes. He would sit at his lavish table and imagine famine. He would hold a goblet of silver and picture it shattered. He didn't do this to be cold or emotionless. He did it to sharpen his gratitude and dull his attachment. Because once you've made peace with loss, no tyrant can scare you. No misfortune can enslave you. You become untouchable, not because you control everything, but because you're willing to let it all go. Act 3. Wealth without worry. Now, some people call Seneca a hypocrite, a Stoic with palaces, a teacher of simplicity with 500 slaves. Even he admitted this tension. But Seneca argued, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more who is poor. Wealth wasn't the problem. Attachment was. He believed you could enjoy wealth as long as you were just as ready to live without it. That's why he slept on the ground once a month, wore rough clothing, ate the simplest food, even while riches surrounded him. He called this poverty training, not to punish himself, but to remind himself, if I lost it all, I'd still be me. And that's real security, the kind you can't buy, only build. Act 4. The day he died. Calmly. Eventually, the day did come. Nero ordered Seneca to take his own life, suspecting him of betrayal. And how did Seneca respond? With the same composure he had rehearsed for years. He gathered his friends, calmed their fears, spoke to them of courage, of virtue, of nature's cycles. Then he opened his veins, as was custom, and he died slowly, without panic, without bitterness. He met death like an old acquaintance, not a thief, but a final teacher. Act 5. The Legacy of a Prepared Mind. Seneca's wealth is gone now. His villas are dust. The empire he served collapsed. But his letters survived, and in them, he left us a blueprint for inner strength. Not to avoid pain, but to rehearse it. Not to fear death, but to greet it. Not to cling to life, but to live it so well that when the end comes, you don't flinch. Because what Seneca knew is what we keep forgetting. The point of imagining death is not to die every day. It's to stop waiting to live, to finalize. The final lesson. Seneca's life wasn't perfect. He struggled with power, contradiction, and public scrutiny. He walked the razor's edge between luxury and discipline, and he didn't always get it right. But that's exactly why his story matters. Because you don't need to be flawless to be wise. You don't need to give up everything to learn how to let go. And you don't have to wait for death's knock to start living like your time is precious. Seneca didn't preach escape. He practiced preparation. He asked, if everything I depend on vanished tomorrow, would I still be whole? Ask yourself that. Start small. Let go of one fear. Detach from one illusion. And live today not as something owed to you, but something you were entrusted to shape. Because one day, the final moment will come. But until then, you are free to build a life so grounded, so honest, that even death will have nothing left to take. If this story moved, or if it helped shift your perspective, or reminded you of your own strength, subscribe for more wisdom from ancient minds, rewired for modern courage. And remember, you own nothing, not even tomorrow. So live on purpose.